All right, this month's tip has been about when to have a meeting and when to send an email. We have so many different communication channels now. We're inundated with messages, and a lot of people joke like, this could have been a meeting or this could have been an email. So how do you make the choice between when to do one and when to do the other? Okay, I'm gonna give you a couple of tips, but I want you to know that there is no definitive right answer because everybody has a different preference for different kinds of communication channels. The thing is that some channels are better for some things than others. So rather than going with people's preferences, you want to try to use the channel for its best purpose. That comes down to a couple of things. Meetings mean being face to face in real time with other people. That means we get real feedback from each other in real time. We can have an agenda, we can have a list of things, questions we want to talk about, things we need to address with each other, and we can address them in conversation, going back and forth, taking turns, participating, and seeing people's expressions in real time. So we get a lot of nonverbal information in a meeting, which can be incredibly helpful. The drawback with meetings is that they take time. So since everybody has to be there at the same time, we have to schedule them, block out time in our calendar, figure out when everyone's available, and it can be onerous to figure out how to make a meeting happen. So sometimes we prefer to email because email is asynchronous, meaning I can write it on my time and you can read it on your time. What email is really good for is three things. I've talked about these before, but it's really good for communicating with a large group of people all at one time. So you can send all the information at the same time to as many people as you need to. You can send documents and links. So email is a really easy way for us to send physical objects, right? Tangible information between each other. And it's really good for documentation. And so what happens is when we are working, we're constantly thinking about having documentation. And I want you to consider that in certain circumstances, it is incredibly useful to have the meeting first and then follow up with the email. So the way that you're going to make this decision is by asking yourself, I'm going to communicate this thing. Is it really complicated? If it's not really complicated, then you can send an email. But if it is really complicated, you probably need to have a meeting. You also want to ask yourself, is it sensitive? If it's sensitive, we prefer to talk about those things in face-to-face, in real time with each other, where we can see how people feel in response. So if it's sensitive, you want to have the meeting. If it's not sensitive, you can probably send the email. You also want to think about how many people you're sending it to. 1 to 10 people, maybe it would be nice to get together with them. 10 to 100 people, think about some of the other things. Over 100 people, definitely send the email. You do not want to coordinate a meeting with more than 100 people. And the last thing to think about is how long you can wait for a response. So depending on the topic, when you send an email, you have to wait for the other person to respond. And the standard response time is 24 hours. That's just the standard guideline, how long you're going to have to wait for a response. It might be longer, it might be shorter, but you can expect at least 24 hours to go by because we never know what the other person is doing. So if you can wait 24 hours, go ahead and send the email. If you can't, or you need to get in touch with them so that you can ask them right now, then you're going to have a meeting. And a meeting could even be a phone call, so that you can get that information. So when you think through those 4 questions, they're going to help you decide whether you should have a meeting or whether you should send an email so that you can make the best decision about how you communicate with your audiences. And then remember, if you need documentation, you can always use email for documentation, but you can always have a meeting and follow up with an email. Hope that's useful.